Locked away. We found Alice wandering the grounds in the depths of night one bitterly cold winter. Joseph, the night guard, had stumbled into my quarters babbling about a shimmering hole in the sky and a pale white ghost that had emerged to haunt the rose bushes. Quite preposterous, of course, and I told him as much as I marched outside in my dressing gown to see what all the fuss was about. I had fully expected that one of my girls had escaped again, and I was determined to discover how they were getting through locked doors. Only I had the keys to each room, you see. Yet they were still managing to slip away. The situation was becoming untenable, and my reputation was at stake. Although my bank balance had become somewhat larger as a result. We made our way past the kitchen gardens and down into the dormant rose maze. As we passed under the arched entrance, I saw a strange woman dressed in a white garment that floated on the night breeze, her halo of golden hair shining in the pale moonlight. I must admit, even my heart skipped a beat at her wraith-like appearance. I approached cautiously, not wanting to scare her. My patients were easily disturbed, especially at night, and I didn't want to rouse them into a frenzy if they woke up. As I drew closer, I saw a faint, secretive smile curl her lips as she slowly blinked at me. The hairs on my neck prickled in response. "Am I home?" she asked gently, her words laced with some deeper emotion I couldn't yet recognize. Her eyes narrowed as she looked up at the large, imposing building. "Yes," she whispered, half to herself. "I do believe I am." She looked at me and sighed deeply. "Take me to my room and let me rest," she said tiredly, "and then you can carry on with your damned experiments." I looked at her in confusion, and then cursed quietly as she swooned onto the frosty grass. As ever, Joseph was quick to rush to the girl's aid, picking up the lithe figure in his strong arms. His tender concern when dealing with our residents was often a source of amusement among the other guards. Most of them were little more than thugs, you understand. It is decidedly hard to find decent men to look after these poor, broken minds. Joseph was one of the good ones, and I was thankful to have him as he carried the girl up countless flights of stairs. Only the tower room was free that night. Despite many girls going missing, we were always being sent more. I sometimes wonder if men simply wanted to rid themselves of unwanted burdens. It is surprisingly easy to find yourself locked up here, if you are a woman. Imaginary female troubles or jealousy are the most common ailments that seem to afflict our residents, according to the men who send them to us. I do what I can, but I am not entirely surprised that so many try to escape. Joseph puffed his way up the final few steps as I unlocked the heavy wooden door. Despite the cold wind that whistled through the wooden shutters, I had no choice but to use this one remaining room. While Joseph laid the girl on the hard, narrow bed, I went to retrieve several thick blankets from the storeroom below. I returned with my arms laden to find the girl wrapped in Joseph's embrace. "Joseph!" I exclaimed, shocked by his lack of decorum. "Unhand that girl immediately!" He smoothed the strand of golden hair from her pale face. "She was freezing almost to death, Doctor," he said quietly, looking at me reproachfully. "I couldn't let her suffer." I rolled my eyes and sighed. "Well, you can let her go now," I replied, walking over to wrap the unconscious girl. "Make sure those shutters are locked tight," I ordered, as I checked the girl for any obvious signs of injury. He stretched his tired arms and rose from the bed. With a final, lingering look at the still shape now covered in blankets, he took out a set of keys and secured the wooden boards. "We will leave the girl in peace," I stated, after deciding the girl was simply exhausted and cold. "Bring her some food and water and leave it through the slot as usual. We'll see how she feels in the morning. I want to know how she ended up in our rose garden."